Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is August 7th, 2026. We are going to read from Judges chapter 21. We're going to finish Judges, and then we're going to go to Acts chapter 25. All right, so we've had this horrible story, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. We ended with 11 of the tribes of Judah going after Benjamin and essentially wiping them out almost. Does not leave very many left, and now they're starting to think about that. So let's go ahead. We're going to read Judges chapter 21. Now the men of Israel had sworn an oath at Mizpah, saying, "None of us shall give his daughter to Benjamin as a wife." And the people came to the house of God and remained there before God till evening. They lifted up their voices and wept bitterly and said, "O Lord God of Israel, why has this come to pass in Israel, that today there should be one tribe missing in Israel?" Because they tried to kill them all. And we see they didn't stop with the men, they killed the women too. Lip service is what they're paying to God. They never, they just did whatever they want. That's that theme that's gone all through Judges. The people just did what they wanted. Every now and then they would pretend to go ask God and say, "Oh, God must want us to do what we're doing." And we see that it just has been getting worse and worse and worse. All right, so now they've slaughtered most of the Benjamites, and now they're feeling guilty. And they're saying, "Well, now what are we going to do? We said we wouldn't give our wives to them, so Benjamin's going to die out." Verse 4. So it was on the next morning that the people rose early and built an altar there, and they offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. We shouldn't have built an altar there. That's sinful. The altar's in the tabernacle in Shiloh. The children of Israel said, "Who is there among all the tribes of Israel who did not come up with the assembly to the Lord?" For they had made a great oath concerning anyone who had not come up to the Lord of Mizpah, saying, "He shall surely be put to death." And the children of Israel grieved for Benjamin their brother, and said, "One tribe is cut off from Israel today. What shall we do for wives for those who remain? Seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them our daughters as wives." They've been disobedient all the way up to now, but that's the one that they're going to obey. Verse 8, and they said, "What one is there from the tribes of Israel who did not come up to Mizpah to the Lord?" And in fact, no one had come to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. For when the people were counted, indeed, not one of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead was there. So the congregation sent out there 12,000 of their most valiant men, and commanded them, saying, "Go and strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, including the women and children. And this is the thing that you shall do. You shall utterly destroy every male and every woman who has known a man intimately." So they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins who had not known a man intimately, and they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. So to correct the great sin of Benjamin almost being wiped out, they decided to go wipe these people out and steal their virgins. Verse 13, then the whole congregation sent word to the children of Benjamin who were at the rock of Rimmon, and announced peace to them. So Benjamin came back at that time, and they gave them the women whom they had saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead. And yet they had not found enough for them. And the people grieved for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a void in the tribes of Israel. Then the elders of the congregation said, "What shall we do for wives for those who remain, since the women of Benjamin have been destroyed?" And they said, "There must be an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, that a tribe may not be destroyed from Israel. However, we cannot give them wives from our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn an oath, saying, 'Cursed be the one who gives a wife to Benjamin.'" Then they said, "In fact, there is a yearly feast of the Lord in Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shishim, and south of Lebonah." Therefore they instructed the children of Benjamin, saying, "Go lie and wait in the vineyards and watch. And just when the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dances, then come out from the vineyards, and every man catch a wife for himself from the daughters of Shiloh. Then go to the land of Benjamin." That's their solution. Verse 22, then it shall be, when their fathers or their brothers come to us to complain, that we will say to them, "Be kind to them for our sakes, because we did not take a wife for any of them in the war. For it is not as though you have given the women to them at this time, making yourselves guilty of your oath." And the children of Benjamin did so. They took enough wives for their number from those who danced, whom they caught. Then they went and returned to their inheritance, and they rebuilt the cities and dwelt in them. So the children of Israel departed from there at that time, every man to his tribe and family. They went out from there, every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel, and everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Let's move over to Acts chapter 25. All right, so Paul has been taken to Caesarea. He was before Felix as the governor. Felix was recalled after a couple of years, and Festus has come. So we're going to start over with another defense that Paul's going to have to make. All right, now when Festus had come to the province, after 3 days he went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief men of the Jews informed him against Paul. And they petitioned him, asking a favor against him, that he would summon him to Jerusalem while they lay in ambush along the road to kill him. But these guys promised, no, we'll never eat or drink. We're gonna kill Paul. That was 2 years ago. I don't think they fulfilled that vow either. But they're going to try and get Paul to come back to Jerusalem so they can kill him again. But Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself was going there shortly. Therefore he said, let those who have authority among you go down with me and accuse this man to see if there is any fault in him. All right, so they said bring him to Jerusalem, and he's like, well, no, Caesarea is the capital of the province as far as the Romans are concerned. He's a Roman. I'm going to go talk to him in Caesarea. And when he had remained among them more than 10 days, he went down to Caesarea. And the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, he commanded Paul to be brought. So this is now an official trial. He's in the judgment seat. Then he had come. The Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood about and laid many serious complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. Well, he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I offended in anything at all. But Festus, wanting to do the Jews a favor, because he's new, answered Paul and said, are you willing to go up to Jerusalem and there be judged before me concerning these things? So Paul said, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. That the Jews I have done no wrong, as you very well know. For if I'm an offender or have committed anything deserving of death, I do not object to dying. But if there is nothing in these things of which these men accuse me, no one can deliver me to them. I appeal to Caesar. He says, no, I'm not going to go to Jerusalem. I'm a Roman. I want to go to Caesar. That is my right. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, you have appealed to Caesar you shall go. And after some days, King Agrippa and Bernice came to Caesarea to greet Festus. Now, Bernice is King Agrippa's sister. So, yeah, that's an inappropriate relationship that's going on there. Not really a king. He doesn't really have any authority in this region, but he knows all about Jews. So that's why we're going to appeal to him, I guess. When they had been there many days, Festus laid Paul's case before the king, saying, there is a certain man left a prisoner by Felix, about whom the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me when I was in Jerusalem, asking for a judgment against him. To them I answered, it is not the custom of Romans to deliver any man to destruction before the accused meets the accusers face to face, and has an opportunity to answer for himself concerning the charge against him. Therefore, when they had come together without any delay, the next day I sat on the judgment seat and commanded the man to be brought in. When the accusers stood up, they brought no accusation against him of such things as I supposed, but had some questions against him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus who had died, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. And because I was uncertain of such questions, I asked whether he was willing to go to Jerusalem and there be judged concerning these matters. But when Paul appealed to be reserved for the decision of Augustus, I commanded him to be kept till I could send him to Caesar. And this would have been Nero at this time. Then Agrippa said to Festus, I also would like to hear the man myself. Tomorrow, he said, you shall hear him. So the next day, when Agrippa and Bernice had come with great pomp, and had entered the auditorium with the commanders and the prominent men of the city, at Festus' command, Paul was brought in. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all the men who are here present with us, you see this man about whom the whole assembly of the Jews petitioned me, both at Jerusalem and here, crying out that he was not fit to live any longer. But when I found that he had committed nothing deserving of death, and that he himself had appealed to Augustus, I decided to send him. I have nothing certain to write to my lord concerning him. Therefore I have brought him out before you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after the examination has taken place, I may have something to write. He's the new governor. He can't just send Paul to Caesar and say, yeah, he needs a trial. What's he accused of? I don't know. So he's trying to figure that out. For it seems to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not to specify the charges against him. And we're going to get to what happens next tomorrow. Until then, may God bless reading His word, and may God bless you. Bye.